Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again. In this YouTube astrological segment, I'm going to be talking about transit Jupiter making a square opposition or inconjunct aspect to one's natal south node. Now, when we're talking about transits that involve Jupiter, it can be about expanding horizons, going outside the box, so to speak, enthusiasm, exuberance, optimism, hope, jocularity, joviality, the truth and veracity. Now, when you have transit Jupiter basically making an adverse aspect to one's natal south node. Now, when I say basically, I'm going to elaborate on that. Well, the thing is, squares and oppositions in astrology, of course, those aspects are adverse and negative. Now, the inconjunct aspect, though it's neutral, I mean, neutral aspects can have good and bad points to it. And inconjunct also can be about adjustments, transition, and when you have that, those things can cause a little tension and exasperation. So collectively, I mean, I see this basically as an adverse transit. Now, the thing is, again, when you have transit Jupiter basically making an adverse aspect to one's natal south node, well, it may manifest in expanding horizons, going outside the box, enthusiasm, exuberance, optimism, hope, jocularity, joviality, the truth and veracity. These things may conflict with your past. It can be where you simply don't have really that enthusiasm, that exuberance, really to do things that are associated with the past. And the one good thing is that you could be focusing more with the, as far as moving forward with the north node placement. But I mean, say if the natal south node is in Scorpio, it could be, matters, with something with control or power or something Scorpio related, like a field like locksmithing or psychology or the occult, which includes astrology, or crisis situation maybe from the past is maybe resurfacing somehow. It can be something too, and you just might not feel really up to dealing with it at this time. Now, for those of you that may believe in the past lives, I mean, South Node can be connected with something from the past life, and the thing about it is it might be maybe you're trying, it might be more difficult, you feel like maybe getting away, taking a long distance journey, for example, if you're trying to get away from somebody you feel, may have been connected with that past life. And again, I just want to say for those that do believe in that, now, and the thing is, you might be having, and somebody from the past might be causing you difficulty to be jocular and jovial and be optimistic and positive at this point in time. Now, the South Node is also about what we're going away from, what we're trying to get away from, and the thing about it is, it might be something where you might be having a little more trouble getting away from something if you're trying, again, I mean, Jupiter being connected with long distance journeys, foreign travel. Maybe you're having maybe you're trying to get away just simply from your from your own neighborhood. Say if the South Node is in the third house as an example, it could be just getting away from where you are with your neighbors, and trying to, and also expanding horizons. And expanding horizons really are something that you might be having a little bit more trouble doing, because it could be where the South Node being where one's complacent, where one could be relaxed and self-satisfied, where you just feel that contentment, may be causing some difficulties in doing that as well. Now, another thing too, though, on the positive end, the South Node, though, can be connected with what we're naturally proficient. Yes, it could be where we feel naturally content, where we become a little complacent and self-satisfied, but I do see the South Node as being, where we could actually be something we could excel in. And it can be where, again, going back to, the expanding horizons and with Jupiter, it can be such where we might feel at this time, we don't maybe want to expand the horizons or don't have the enthusiasm or exuberance in doing so because we're naturally happy with what we're doing in connection with the South Node. The South Node in Leo, for example, can be very good. It's a proficient in doing, in garnering, getting attention, attaining some kind of notoriety and recognition, and in something matters just with extroversion and gregariousness in general, or something with a could be like a Leo type field, something with creativity or working with children, um, something cardiology, doing something with creativity as some examples, entertainment. It could be something too where when you look at this transit as well, I mean, the South Node can be connected with the overdeveloped and redundant qualities. And it might be a time where where it's hard to be jocular and jovial, perhaps because of maybe your acknowledgement of these overdeveloped, redundant qualities. It could be, I mean, say if the South Node is in Aquarius, it could be, just being, that nonconformist for the sake, of doing so. And I'm not saying, it's necessarily always going to be like very, eccentric behavior, like, climbing the walls, with suction cups, like, Spider-Man or something, but it's something where it's, again, it can be, very redundant qualities. Virgo can be, somebody that constantly, excessively sanitizes things. And the thing is, when you look at this transit as well, and it can be something where, I mean, South Node is connected with what you want to leave behind. And the thing is, if you want to leave behind, it might be where you're not overly, positive or exuberant or enthusiastic about leaving certain things behind. It might be what you want to leave behind may be something you truly want, because again, the South Node can be connected with the energy that we may feel very comfortable and content with. Another thing about the South Node, it can reflect, I'd say, a negative manifestation, an expression of the sign that it's in. So it can be, something where you have this, I mean, say the South Node in Capricorn as an example. It can be, an overly, cold or callous, undemonstrative energy, being overly authoritative, maybe even tyrannical in some cases. It can be energy that you're not overly happy or jocular with. You might be you may acknowledge this and be cognizant of that energy. The fact you're talking about transit Jupiter basically making an adverse aspect to the South Node is that it might be something where you're not, it's energy that you're saying that's negative in the South Node, and you're not obviously overly joyful or joyous regarding it at this point in time. And the thing is, another way this transit may manifest, it could be difficulty in finding enthusiasm again to get away from perhaps the overdeveloped, redundant qualities that is associated with the placement. Now, say for example, if the South Node is in Virgo, it might be like hypochondriac or over analytical, qualities. It could be like seeing, like if say the South Node is in Virgo in the 11th house. The 11th house could be connected with astrology. It might be overanalyzing, some kind of astrological chart, trying to see dwads within dwads when it might not necessarily be necessary. And going back to the hypochondriac term, I don't know if that's actually used anymore, but anyway, you understand what I'm saying. But the thing is, it could also be about being over, optimistic in trying to leave, leave something behind. Now, say again, going back to say if the South Node is in Capricorn, and say that it's in the 4th house, it could be a depressing or limiting or very restricting, which could be Capricorn, could be a home, just a 4th house situation. It could be trying to leave a very authoritative or even tyrannical, very cold or callous family member is another way it could manifest, and it might be harder to find, that enthusiasm to really, or I should say, it could be being over optimistic in regards to getting away from that energy. So, hold on a moment, people. Sorry about that, I'm back, but anyway. Now, another way this transit may be expressed, it could be philosophical differences with somebody from your past. Say if, you have, the South, South Node, is in Libra. Maybe it's a Libra Sun. It could be a Libra Sun, Moon, or Ascendant person, or one, that embodies those characteristics. But let's say, for example, if, Jupiter is in Gemini, and as far as, philosophical differences connected with someone from the past, if Jupiter is in Gemini, there may be difficulty might be some different views on street sense and how maybe it, for example, how it stacks up against, book sense, being studious, being learned, like say in college, as an example. What is more important, the street sense or the book sense, in terms of, say, for example, attaining a greater stature in life and having more success in life in general. Now, Jupiterian people may be opposed at this time to the negative manifestation of the placement of your South Node. Now, it might be, say if the natal South Node is in Taurus, it could be, something where maybe there's some expression of being overly greedy or avaricious, or maybe making promises monetarily that you don't necessarily follow through on. Now, anatomically speaking, Jupiter is connected with the liver, sciatic nerve, pancreas, and hip, and this could be a time where if you're having any issues with any of those things, it might be harder basically to get away from them at this point in time, and maybe these problems are bringing out more of the negative energy connected with the South Node, and as far as your natal South Node goes. But anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment. Until next time, Edwin Learnard saying stay well.